Today at Home with Miss Joan, I'm going to show you how to can you up some good, healthy chicken broth. You start out by washing your chicken. I am washing off my 6-pound bird, and anytime you get a whole chicken like this, you gotta look, you gotta look at his cavity and pull out whatever might be in there, okay? Whether it's like neck parts or I don't know, Mama called it. She called it the giblets. They used to make the giblet gravy out of that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're just kind of looking to see if there's anything that comes out. And I'm washing him really, really good. Okay, I'm even washing inside the cavity after I pulled everything out. Sure does make him shrink down a little bit, don't it? Here he goes. This one is washed, and I'm going ahead to my slow cooker. I think y'all know that watch me, I got the Formica like top in my kitchen. So when I'm going to go long term with my crock pots, I always pat it with a bread pan turned upside down. That's what that is. It looks old and rusty, but it's clean. All right, we're going to cover our 6-pound birds with water. He got about a half a gallon. Yep, that's a gallon pitcher. So I'm going to let these start cooking, because they're going to have to cook 24 hours, okay? Look at here, all my chicken is just cooked till it's just falling apart. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it cool down so I can debone it. And then we'll start working on our broth. I've had 2 6-pound birds, I call them. Says whole young chickens. I had 2 of these. And so I just took them out of the bag, washed them up good. After those 2 big chickens, I had put filled it full of water, and I put like a tablespoon of salt in each one of my crock pots, and then I put about a teaspoon of vinegar in each one of them. Oh, it's good to use apple cider vinegar. You can use white vinegar, whatever you got, or no vinegar. It just depends upon you. Chicken broth is real easy to make. Some just make it with just boil the chicken and save the broth, salt it up a little bit and can it, okay? So it's real, you have great freedom in how you want to do it. But anyway, here, look at all this chicken I got. And of course, I'm not going to ruin. Of course, I'm not going to lose any of it. Look at here, what some beautiful, beautiful pieces. Can't wait to do this. Now, if I decide to can up my chicken, I'm not going to do it on the video because we've already got how to can chicken on my YouTube channel. Now, if you'll know, when I'm going through here and I see some of the dark pieces and the bones, I'm just putting it right back over here in with my broth, okay? Because it's just going to give it some more flavor. Look at that chicken bone right there. Chicken leg. We used to eat a lot of chicken legs when we was growing up at home. We got the chicken leg and the parents ate the breast. See, we didn't realize they was getting the white meat, but it didn't matter. It's all good. See all this right here? Don't be guilty of throwing all of this away, okay? Because there's all kind of nutrients inside the bones here that we want to get out. We want to put them into our bodies for our health, okay? So that's what I'm doing. Just any of the little pieces. See, it's just full because I had 2 big, if you remember, chickens. That's a lot of meat. See, when you get your whole chicken, I know, y'all seen me do it too. I buy the long packs. It's got 5 or 6 chicken breasts in it at the grocery store, and you've seen me use them. But if you can get these whole chickens like this, then you got all your good meat. And then you got the little pieces of meat too. You can make a dandy chicken salad, with it. So we're not going to waste anything. But that bone right there, see it? He going back in the pot. And we're going to boil him with some aromatics, vegetables. And we're going to have a wonderful chicken stock. And put it on the shelf, see? Now you can freeze it if you don't have a deep freezer. A pressure cooker. You can freeze the broth. I like to can mine and put it on the shelf. I'm trying real hard to get a lot of stuff out of my freezer and can it up. And see, I had these 2 big birds in my freezer taking up a lot of space. I'm going to take my strainer, because that is a lot of good liquid right there that came out when I pulled the chickens out, that I'm just going to kind of throw back in here. See, I've just used up all my stuff. All right, I'm gonna set my good chicken pieces aside, and I'll work on them a little bit later. I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, I was gonna tell you about what we're gonna put in it. You can put, like you don't have to cut things so perfectly and square and all that when you're making this. You just, you use the tips and everything of your celery. And I don't want it to be like real celery tasting, but celery is an anti-inflammatory vegetable. So it'd be good to have this in your chicken stock so you can get all that good anti-inflammatory. I'm going to try to share the love here since I got 2 pots into your broth. And it can be like chop cut, rough cut, see, because we're going to strain all this out after it gets done and make the broth. We'll strain everything. Now this looks kind of gross too. Like when you're cutting up your carrots and you're making some kind of something and you have all those little pieces left, well, just put them in your freezer. Can you see how this is frozen hard? Just put all that you didn't use in your freezer. And then onions, look here, I've been saving onions with the peels. Like when I cut up an onion to use in the dish, whether it's cooked or it's not, I save the scraps from the onion that I would have used to throw it away, but you can save it for your garden, put on your garden. And this color right here off of this purple onion and skin off of the yellow onion that I have, it helps make a pretty color into our broth. I will just going to share the love here. And I'm just dumping all this gross. It looks gross. But this is how our grandmothers and our ancestors made their broth. They never wasted a single thing, okay? So I have got onions, celery, 2 kinds of onions. Why? Because that's what I had, you know. That's what I had cooked with. So this right here, it is going to be wonderful. It's going to give it all a good flavor. Let me see. There was some things I was going to tell you that I'm not putting in here. I'm using what I got, okay? But I am putting the celery, the carrots, and the onions. I don't have any bay leaves right now, do I? And then some people put peppercorn in there. They like that taste. And they'll put garlic in here, okay? But what I have is celery, onions, and carrots, and then I also have a little bit of this apple cider vinegar, and then I put some salt in it. Now, when you watch that part of me getting it ready and washing the chicken, that was when I did all that. Alrighty, I'll just check right up here. Yep. Aisle 20. Look at here. What I got. Bay leaves. So we'll put some in there. I'm going to put 2. Alrighty. Now, okay. Now what we're going to do is, what it is you just throw it in a pot and let it cook. Now, I'm going to tell you this though. You see this chicken that I cooked to get all the good juices out of it. The rotisserie chickens that y'all buying at the store, you're coming home, you're having a quick supper by using the rotisserie chicken. Don't throw the carcass or the bones left over away. If you can't do none of this right then, just freeze them like you saw me doing the other stuff. Throw them in a freezer bag and let them mound up or build up. And then someday when you are home, then you have got the bones, and it'll take you half the time that it's took me. Because see, I cooked my chicken. Then I got my bones off of it. Well, see, you'd be starting right here with putting the bones in and all the vegetables and the aromatics you want to put in and cook it. And there you are. You're ready to can it. So those rotisserie chickens is a good thing to do. Oh, yes. And some people, or after a holiday, have a turkey and gobble. Everybody just eats that turkey up and then already sets all them bones. Don't throw them out. Save them. Make you some turkey broth. You see what I mean? Lots of recipes call for like, add chicken broth, add chicken broth. We have a lot of them that way. And it can get expensive. You have everything right there at home and you just have had a dinner with the turkey or the chicken. Just save it. When you get time, make you some broth. That's what we're going to do today, and I'm going to show you how to can it. Yes, and if you're going straight from bones, you're going to have to add, the vegetables and all that you want to put in it. And you also add water, okay? Cover it with water. Cover it good with water, okay? So I'm going to add a little more water in mine. Bring it to the top and let it set. I'm going to let it cook low and slow. And this looks like a, we're fixing to have Halloween around here. It looks like a witch's brew. But anyway, can you imagine all the nutrients that's going to come out of this celery and these onions and these carrots? I mean, oh my goodness, this is going to be wonderful. And especially it's going to have the flavor of the chicken. Alrighty, so right now Miss Joan is going to cover it up. I'm going to go about my day and forget it. But I'm going to set my pots here. These are crock pots. Now, some of them do it in those Instant Pots and the pressure cookers and different things. Oh, yeah, and you can, if you was going to do like me and start with raw chickens, roast it in the oven about 45 minutes and then take it out and debone it. Put the bones over in your stock pot here and take it from there. There's all kind of ways you can get your meat ready to go in here. And this is just chicken broth. You can do beef broth. You can do pork broth. You can do all kinds of things, okay, with your leftover meats. Don't waste anything, okay? All right, I'm going to let this cook all day long, and then I'll get back with you, and we're going to can us up some. Oh, yeah, while I'm kind of cleaning up my bar here, I forgot to tell you something. So, you ready for this? Some people they buy them, or they have them on their farms because they process their own chicken. Chicken feet. They put chicken feet in their chicken broth and their chicken bone broth. And you say, well, why, Miss Jones? Well, that grosses me out. But the chicken feet adds a lot of, that's where a lot of connective tissue is. And that is where a lot of the collagen is, okay? And so that's why they're adding the chicken feet. Some of them may drop 2 or 3 in each pot or whatever. And they're putting a lot of collagen, and all of y'all know the health benefits of collagen in our skin and everything, into the chicken broth. So I forgot to say that earlier. I want y'all to know everything I know, and then you post down under in the comments how you do yours and what healthy things you put in your broth. When we left off, we was cooking all of our vegetables, our aromatics and everything in these 2 crock pots. Okay. Well, I let all that go a good 6 hours in my crock pot. I put it in the refrigerator last night. I wanted to tell you why. Well, look, the fat will rise to the top. Now, it's up to you. Some people just don't skim the fat off, and some people do. But I wanted you to see that when I put it in the refrigerator, see all that? That's the fat that was in that chicken. And some of you are going to be saying, hooray for taking that chicken fat off, Miss Joan. And others are going to be saying, well, Miss Joan, that's a lot of the flavor. Fat is the flavor. Okay, I get it. But after we let this cool, I am going to skim off all this because I believe that I'll still get some fat. We'll know that when we get through. What happens is you would just if you keep this, you decide to keep all the fat for the flavor or whatever. Then when you finish, you see your finished product, in the next morning or whatever, you may see a thick layer or whatever of fat at the top. And we still may when I finish mine, because, I ain't no way I can get all of it off. I'm just getting what rose to the top. Y'all remember all this stuff is in here. We're doing broth, chicken broth. Some call it chicken stock. And then there's bone broth, which cooks, I think, anywhere. The total thing is 24 to 48 hours. Me, I call mine chicken broth or chicken stock. But somebody a lot more knowledgeable than me can go into all the differences in each thing, okay? But I've always just said, get me some chicken broth, because a lot of my recipes will call for maybe a cup or a half a cup or something of chicken broth, okay? I'm going to try. I may make the biggest mess you ever seen, because as I'm getting older, my arms just won't do what I'd like for them to do. But lots of things. I want to try to strain this into here. I'm going to strain it through here, but to start with, I'm going to put some of this stuff over into another crock pot, or just any kind of pot, because I'm not strong enough to pour all this over, okay? But I've just got a big spoon with the holes in it, and I'm just pulling out some of this stuff just to help me with the heaviness. Look at all these bones. See all that stuff that we've been cooking and cooking? Okay, that's what I'm doing. I don't know how much this is going to splatter, but here we go with our first try of pouring. if you don't have one of these, you run it through your colander, run it through a big strainer, or just whatever you got, okay? I don't know if you can see that. You recognize this, you've seen the strained tomatoes in this before, but it just happened to set over this little stock pot that I got here. Me and my pouring is not the best in the world. I want to show you this if you can. We run it through that first straining. Now some people do lots more straining. You see those little flicks in there? I don't know if you can see them. Little flicks. We can get that out with a cheesecloth. And then some people strain it as it goes into the jar. I want to do something right now that I'm stilling a little bit. I like to take a little bit of the broth, and I don't really care how fine it's strained right now. You see what I'm doing? I'm filling me up an ice cube because we love to keep also, sometimes it'll say 2 tablespoons of chicken broth or whatever, but you see that this is not the final straining that you might want, but this is just going in here. I love these little ice cube trays because they actually got a lid. My old time ice cube trays, they don't have a lid. But anyway, sometimes the recipe will say 2 tablespoons of chicken broth, and it's like, oh, what a mercy. So let's go and get me 2 of these little cubes that I'm going to put in the freezer right here. See this little lid? I love it. I think I got a set of 4 of these. But that is my little tip for just keeping just a tiny bit in the freezer and the rest of it on the shelf. Those come like a pack of 4. I think I got them on Amazon. Well, I decided to go ahead and strain it through my cheesecloth, which, here's what I'm talking about. You get little packs of it. This had 6 pieces in it. And I've just used clothespins and clipped it around my pot here. Let me show you. Because now we want to catch the rest of that stuff, okay? If I can lift it up. That's what's hard for me making this video for y'all. We need preacher. Woo-wee. Okay. I'm blessed. I'll say, preacher, please come get this. It's too heavy. Hey. But a good tip for y'all is you stick that cheesecloth and you'll run them clothespins around it. Watch me start. See that sediment there in the bottom coming out of the pan? Alrighty. That's what we're getting out. And it's going to catch it. This stock pot here is a lot bigger than that black one. I can't remember how big they are. I looked on the bottom and it don't say. And I hadn't measured it. But anyway, I got a little sack of stuff I'm holding. I'm hoping it don't get down in my broth because I'm hoping this is my last straining. There we go. Oh, do y'all see this sack right here? I can remember going to the barn and them trying to teach me how to milk the cow. And them things hanging down right there. And we supposed to pull on that sack thing and touch her. I don't know why. I had a flashback about that. But you tell me what now. I could never get though. My brother could get in there and he could milk that cow and ain't got nothing to do with making chicken broth, okay? But this sack thing reminded me of it, okay? But anyway, we got about all we can get out of here, and we caught everything we could catch in this cheesecloth. That's about the finest thing that you can get that will strain it. I'm still laughing about my memories of trying to learn how to milk a cow. I'm sorry, I got to get focused. Now, remember I told you just spent the night in the refrigerator? Well, we got to get it hot again because we're going to can it hot. We're going to have hot jars, hot broth, and a canner that's warmed up, okay? So here we go, putting it on to warm it up. Okay, it's now hot, and I'm going to start filling my jars. Remember I told you we got hot jars, hot clean jars. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, if you're new to pressure canning and you want to know all the little specifics about how to run your canner, look up my video, pressure canning for beginners, okay? Because I took time to try to remember every step. And if you'll look that up, that'll help you, not just take off the canning chicken broth. You'll look that up. But it is easy. Okay, now I'm going to try to make it over here without making too big of a mess. Oh yes, and we tasted this too when it was warming up. And my daughter and I proclaimed it delicious, okay? Seasoned good. All those vegetables make a difference. Now we're going to come up here to the 1-inch headspace, okay? I thought I'd do 2 jars all the way, and then you won't have to take up your time of watching me do all of them, okay? Okay, hot broth going into a hot jar. Here we go. So this time, see, I already, if you watched from the front, I already salted it with the. So you need to taste yours as you go, and get it the level of saltiness that you want. This one right here is great. I mean, that's good. I usually take the end of a paper towel, dip it in some vinegar, and clean my rims all the way around. While checking for, what's that? Oh. And then move your finger over. I don't know if I'll say that very much on here. Move your finger over, because if you don't, you're going to be taking the debris off of this and then moving it to this one, okay? So adjust your cloth where you're using a clean cloth or a, oh dear, that's hot. Glory be. All right. Put him on here. Okay. Put him on there. This has magnet in it because it wants to jump off. All right, and then we need the rings. Whew. Let's go ahead and reach for that other one. I reckon it's so hot I can't hardly touch it to get the band down here. Okay. Always twist your stuff, not crank it down, but what they call finger tight. Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to put these over into my canner, which has the hot water. It's already got a splash of vinegar, and my canner calls for 3 quarts of water. It's already been heating up on here so that the hot broth, the hot jars, will also be put into a hot canner. That's to keep, from the shock. All right, here's the second one. Now, I'm going to keep on going, and I'll get back with you when we get all of them finished. Oh, we wound up with 12 pints. That's going in the bottom of my counter, but, oh yeah, in the bottom is 7. I could have been 6 and 6, but I didn't. That's 7. And then I'm going to put the others on the top layer. Pints pressure can for 20 minutes, and quarts for 25. But anyway, we have pints. That's what I wanted. Now, remember, I've got 3 quarts of water in the bottom of this thing, a splash of vinegar, and it's hot because it's been heating up. So everything's hot against hot against hot. Okay, now all of you, to look through the hole, which that's all in my video of pressure canning for beginners. But you look through the hole, make sure it's not plugged up. You check your rubber seal. And then this thing right here, your lock button, and it's moving fine. All right. Did you hear that sit down on there? I'm not finished. I gotta bring it and close it. All right. Now I'm gonna let this. I've turned my heat up, and I'm gonna let the steam to start coming out of here. And this may be old hat to some of y'all, but the steam's got to come out of here for 10 good minutes before we ever start counting our time, okay? So right now we're going to wait for this thing to start. It's called venting, V-E-N-T-I-N-G, venting, and the steam comes out for 10 minutes. Oh, you see right here, my safety lock has popped up, and look at this strong steam now that's coming out here. Most of the time, this thing right here will go up, and you'll see a difference in your steam. All right, that's when you set your clock. We need 10 minutes for this right here. Now, just while I got you on, this is one of my chicken bones when I was over there looking at all the stuff I took out. And if you can get your bone to crack that in, did you see me? Then you're at, well, we're at the actually bone broth stage. See that crumble? It's because we are drawing even more nutrients out of the bones of the chicken, okay? Our broth is really, really beneficial to us because we're drawing all the nutrients out of these bones. So if yours are cracked like this, you know that you've just got some little bit of chicken stock, chicken broth, but you're actually entering into what they call the bone broth stage. You're drawing out of the bones. All right, 10 minutes. You see that steam? Okay, you heard my clock go off. It's been 10 minutes, and now it's time for me to put my weight on it. For the area that I live in, I use a 10-pound weight, okay? I'm going to start watching this clock. I'm going to watch my gauge here, and it's going to come up to 10 pounds. And when it does, you're going to see this thing start rocking, because, see, this is going to, well, look at it. It go up 20 pounds. Whew. But when it gets to 10, then we're going to set our clock, because chicken broth pints pressure can 20 minutes and quarts pressure can 25 minutes. But we can't set our clock right now because we're not on 10-pound of pressure yet, or that thing would be a jiggling saying, hey, I'm trying to get to 11, I'm trying to get to 12, you know. So I got to watch this, and it'll start rising up, and it'll get up here to 10, and we're going to set our clock. I hope that y'all try this. And I love canning. I love canning different things, keeping things on the shelf in case the power goes out. Okay, you see that my gauge here is at 10 pounds. Looks like it's going to 11. That's why that's jumping so hard. But 10 to 11 is good right here. But I'm going to slowly, now that it's reached 10 pounds, I'm going to reach over here. I'm going to turn my stove down. I'm going to about medium. And then I can now set my clock for 20 minutes for pints to process. Always wait till you know you're on the 10-pound mark. Or if you don't have one of these gauges and that thing starts jiggling, you know you're at the 10-pound mark if you don't have a gauge. Some of the canners don't have a gauge. In fact, I've been asked to do some canning on one that I have that don't have a gauge, and I'm going to do that for you. I hadn't forgot if you asked me. But anyway, 20 minutes we're going to go to process our pint. And if it's quarts, we go 25. Okay, 20 minutes has passed, and then what you got to do when that happens is turn your heat off, okay? I'm going to let it sit here and cool down, and I'll probably let it cool down for a whole hour, okay? So don't go that long, but my gauge is going to go down to 0. This thing is going to stop running, and I'm going to let it sit here and be cool before I take this lid off. Okay, now I have let my canner here set for an hour and 15 minutes, if you want to know, and people does different, but you got to make sure it's on 0, and then see how this safety lock was up. Well, now it's down right here, and so now it's time that I can take this off, and see there's nothing coming out. Well, if I was taking it off prematurely, boy, it would be showing out for me, okay? All right, here's our jars you want to 0 in. Look at them. And I see some of the fat deposits in there. But we skimmed out a lot of it, didn't we? I'm moving them over here to my towel like I always do. Sure do look pretty. That pretty color? Oh yeah, I was going to tell you, I read where somebody puts a sweet potato. You remember all the vegetables that we put in there and we cooked them for a long time? They put a slice of sweet potato in theirs on purpose to help with the color. Now you saw I didn't do that on mine, but I thought, well, I would have thought about an orange sweet potato going in there. Alrighty. Looks pretty down in here. Remember, we've done pulled out 3, 4, 5. Down in the bottom of my canner, if you want to look in there, my water's really clear and pretty. So we had no siphoning or whatever that's called at all. It's got some beautiful chicken broth, chicken stock, and you saw that we got it really close because our bones was you could just snap them real easy. So we got all those nutrients in here. All right, what about that? Hey, we are so thankful for these 12 pints. We actually made 13, and we kept one out because we want to drink us a cup of it, okay? And so those 2 6-pound chickens that we started out with, you know, we cooked them. This is what they yielded, which was actually 13 pints, but I actually canned 12. Now I wanted to say, did you notice that I cooked my chicken and then I added the vegetables? Well, now lots of people, when you watch their videos, they put it all in the pot together, and you can do that. Here's my theory on that. I wanted my chicken to really get the chicken flavor down in the pot good, and I thought, well, if I pile these vegetables in there first, I didn't want to run a chance of my carrots and my celery and my onions overpowering that good chicken taste. So I do it at halftime. If you watch football, I do it at halftime. So I had my chicken cooked, and then I added all the aromatics and the vegetables. But you know, if you're starting out with just bones and all, then you can put them all in there, okay? But that's how I do it. I try to name off all the parts of the chicken that people use to make broth, but I don't think I ever said chicken wings. Some people just buy a big pack of chicken wings and they make the broth out of it. But don't let anything go to waste. If you've got some bones or whatever, then put them in your freezer and save them and make you some good healthy chicken broth. I had a lady write me and well, more than one, say, don't cover your jars. But this is what I do, okay? And it was how I always saw my mother. She would cover them up and let them sit to the next morning. But some people cover their jars and some don't. But I do. Here at our house, we keep it kind of cool. And so I always cover my jars. But I just want to know, I am so thankful for these pretty jars. And I'm going to cover them up and I'm going to let them sit till in the morning. And what I'll do in the morning is I'll mark them, I'll wash them off, take the rings off, make sure they've all sealed, and then I'll put the dates on them and I'll put them in my pantry. I like putting stuff, you've heard me say it 100 times, in my pantry opposed to my deep freeze, because there it is. No matter what happens, or electricity or whatever happens, there it sits in my shelves. I don't have to worry about it. Here they are the next morning. If you'll see, there's a little tiny fat layer on the top. You see it? There's not much to see. It's so easy that it's gone. That's how little fat that's in this. Anyway, I thought they turned out really good. I just thought I'd share. Don't get scared if you got a little fat rim, if you skimmed off the fat, because that's not going to hurt you one bit. That's just adding just a little bit of flavor. I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all watching, and make you some chicken broth. Oh yes, and if you don't have a pressure canner, make you some good healthy chicken broth and freeze it, okay? Just make you some, all right? I love y'all, and this is At Home with Miss Joan. At Home with Miss Joan, would you like? You know, whether you like it or not, okay? At Home with Miss Joan, please subscribe. Sure does help this old girl's channel grow. Won't you share with friends and family? You know, like your mom and them, okay? Comment right here and you'll hear back from me. You know, preacher, get back with you, my daughter, me, somebody.